So I love money. Who doesn't? The world revolves around it. But still, I can't help but wonder if we'd solve most of the world's problems by eliminating currency altogether. Money keeps us chained to the matrix and prevents us from reaching spiritual enlightenment. It keeps us stuck in lower levels of consciousness like need, anxiety, and loss. But there's not much we can do about that. So I'm going to go watch The Secret of My Success and The Wolf of Wall Street until Trump decides to make it rain greenbacks. I'm not trying to be a finance bro pick-me. My husband and I are just in a polyamorous relationship with TD Ameritrade and Robinhood, and we have no shame. I am very into astrology and very spiritual. So just for funsies, I decided to pay attention to the possible correlation between astrological transits and stock market trends. Now, if you're rolling your eyes at me by this point, I recommend you watch my Astrology is Real video. My experiment began on April 2nd, or Liberation Day. This was when Trump announced the tariffs, when the stock market crashed. While tech investors were panicking, I was plotting my next buy. I especially wanted to test a theory. Waiting until Mercury and Venus went direct would maximize my returns. In the spirit of Aries season, I was ready to make a move. I was monitoring NVIDIA and Qualcomm. I generated charts for each company based on the days they first went public. There were some fascinating correlations. Company charts can reflect brand identity, investor sentiment, and internal shifts. NVIDIA's Aquarius placements made me chuckle. Since Aquarius rules over technology, the Pisces placements between both companies indicate that Qualcomm is innovative with an eye for trends. In the fast-paced technology industry, this allows it the ability to adapt within the market as to remain a relevant competitor. NVIDIA may display this more as its brand identity, while Qualcomm may express this within its company culture. Mercury went direct on April 7th, which marked the return to clarity and decision-making. I had the urge to dive into NVIDIA right away, but Venus, the planet that rules money, held me back as it was still in retrograde. When a planet is in retrograde, this means it appears to be moving backward from our perspective on Earth. Mercury retrograde opens us up to misinterpreted intentions and unclear communication. Venus retrograde encourages a reassessment of finances, values, relationships, and beauty. Making major financial decisions or signing contracts during these retrogrades usually isn't wise. Not only that, but the market was showing no signs of improvement. It was best to let it depreciate as much as possible. Venus went direct on April 12th, so I planned to place market orders for the following Monday, April 14th. I started by evaluating the aspects for the week ahead. They weren't impressive, but you have to pick your battles. Before I dive in, if you don't know what aspects are, you'll need to know the meanings of the 5 major aspects. Skip this section if you already know. Conjunction is an intense, noticeable blend of planetary energy. Planets are together in the same sign or within 10 degrees of each other. Sextile is when planets work together more easily, but the energy needs to be activated by intention. This is when the planets are 2 signs apart and create a 60-degree angle in a chart. Square is when planets challenge each other. This can be good in the sense that it might trigger motivation, but it can also create friction. This is when planets are 3 signs apart and create a 90-degree angle in a chart. Trine brings a sense of ease and flow, but could also lead to laziness. This is when planets are 4 signs apart and create a 120-degree angle in a chart. Opposition is when planets create conflict and polarity. This happens when planets are in opposite signs and create a 180-degree angle in a chart. Now that you know how these aspects affect planets, let's evaluate how they affected the near future. Jupiter in Gemini sextiled the Sun in Aries until April 16th. This was a good time to pursue knowledge, growth, optimistic self-expression. Uranus in Taurus sextiled Mercury in Pisces and Mars in Cancer until April 28th. This influenced original and emotionally intelligent expression of thinking. Pluto in Aquarius sextiled Mercury and Neptune in Pisces until April 28th. This stirred powerful insights, mental transformations, and innovative thinking. Mars in Cancer trined Mercury, Saturn, and Neptune in Pisces until April 29th, May 2nd, and May 9th, respectively. This was a time where we were acting on intuition with emotional maturity and patience. Mars in Cancer squared the Sun in Aries until May 7th, causing a battle between instinct and identity. Jupiter in Gemini squared Venus in Pisces until April 29th, where we may have struggled differentiating between idealism and logic. I then played with the different transits and evaluated the positive and negative aspects against the birth charts of each company I was researching. For NVIDIA, the pros include Pluto being conjunct its natal Sun and Neptune in 11th house Aquarius for over a year, influencing a transformation in identity, place in the collective, and long-term visions. Saturn and Venus were conjunct its natal Jupiter in the first house Pisces, another sign of identity transformation, but with more integrity and inspiration. The Sun in Aries in the first house squared its natal Mercury in Capricorn in the 11th house until April 16th, creating a conflict between impulsivity and planning. Venus in Pisces in the first house squared its midheaven until April 15th, showing a struggle between people-pleasing and being taken seriously. Mars in Cancer in the 5th house squared its natal Mars in Libra in the 7th house, and natal Sun in Aries in the 1st house until April 19th and April 17th, respectively. So this may have brought pressure to maintain brand expression, partnership dynamics, and discipline. Jupiter in Gemini in the 3rd house squared its Pisces ascendant, aka rising sign, until April 20th, influencing staff to feel overstimulated and overpromise results. In hindsight, a better day to invest in NVIDIA would have been April 21st, amongst reports of competition with Huawei. On this day, the price fell to $96.91. The price rose 20% by the time I conducted this analysis. Qualcomm had steadily risen by about 4% since I took the plunge on April 14th. Astrology won't tell you what to buy, but it might just help you decide when. When it comes to money, timing is everything. Fascinated by this deep dive? Give me a like and subscribe for more. Feel free to let me know if you'd like me to predict anything else in the comments. Blessed be.